Hello everybody. This has been a really eventful weekend, early week. It's early December and every day homesteaders, farmers, ranchers, whatever, we're like everybody. We have plans. We have our to-do lists. We have things we really need to get done. And it may or may not happen. We may not be able to cross off most of what happens because the unexpected happens. And this weekend, the unexpected has happened repeatedly. First, on Saturday, I had gone to town in the morning, didn't have any hay for the goats. It's completely out. And so I went to town and I picked up some hay. Came back, was doing my thing. Didn't expect anything different. I expected, I came home, had some lunch. I knew the goats had not eaten much. I'd fed them something. I'd given them the leftovers of something I had. But I think I had a little bit of coastal left. I can't remember now. It's been so long. But I had my lunch, and then I went out to start unloading the pickup truck and deliver them, load them up with some hay. And first of all, first I took the coastal hay out there and filled up the hay feeder, came back, no big deal. But I was missing a twine. Now, if you know goats, if you know livestock, they will eat twine. I've actually seen on YouTube a necropsy of a cow, and they only showed the area of the necropsy. I'm sure they filmed the whole thing, but they only put on YouTube when they discovered what had killed the cow. It was twine in their gut. They had eaten twine, and it had gotten all twisted up, blockage. I can't remember exactly, but it was definitely the cause of death. So you don't want to leave stuff around for your goat. And your goats will eat the twine. They will eat paper. They taste to decide if it's food or not with their mouth. I try to pick up this stuff. And so I went back in looking for where the twine had, I had put both strips of twine, strings, on the cart, and one had fallen off, so I went back, and I'm looking at the ground, looking for this twine, and I spotted some afterbirth on the ground, which stopped me in my tracks. First thought was a miscarriage had occurred, but there was nothing there to tell me that a miscarriage had, there was no babies or anything. And so I started hunting for the babies, and it was not a miscarriage. Lovey had kidded. Now she's a first freshener, which means it's her very first time. If you see in posts to do with goats or other livestock kidding, and you see FF, that stands for first freshener, which means it's their first time. They just kidded for the first time. It's their, or they're about to kid for the first time. And a lot of times they don't know what's going on. Some are great moms and take to it right away. Others are like, what the heck? And I wish I had stalls that I could lock them up in advance. But two issues. One is I had put Lovey in with Nate, hoping he would. I wanted her pregnant, but she wasn't coming in heat, and she was now a year old. This was last spring, late spring, sometime. I don't remember exact dates, but bucks can make a doe come into heat. So I just threw her in there, and I had never actually seen any activity that made me know, okay, she's in heat. So I really, and there was nothing about her. I had not noticed any signs that she was close to having babies. And so I went hunting for these babies, and I found them. They were, a lot of times, it's interesting, my boars tend to kid outside the shelter, and the Nubians tend to kid inside the shelter. And the crosses are outside. I find that really kind of interesting. She had not been in the shelter. She kidded outside. I found each baby in a totally different location. But near the shelter, but outside the shelter. I honestly thought they were dead. They weren't moving. That they looked, I really thought they were dead. But when I picked each one up, they screamed. They cried. And so, I mean, they were in bad shape. They were really in bad shape. So I ran to the house, dipped them in my bathtub, which of course there was no water in I just put them in the bathtub. And then immediately started, the first thing I needed to do was give them a bath. They were really in bad shape. I mean, they were filthy. I needed to give them a bath, get them cleaned. Once they were clean, to assess them and figure out what to do. One thing to realize that you need to know, if you're going to get goats, I know this is for a fact. I'm assuming it's the case for other ruminants, but I don't know. But for goats, their body temperature must be 100 Fahrenheit, or their rumen has shut down. If they're below 100, their rumen has shut down. It won't work. And if you give a goat whose body temperature is below 100 degrees Fahrenheit food, you can kill it. So the first thing in this kind of situation that you've got to do is find out what their temperature is. Well, I already knew they were hypothermic. I mean, these babies were cold when I picked them up. So after bathing them, after getting them all cleaned, and I bathed them in warm water, because the water will help warm their bodies up. And a goat's natural temperature is between, the perfect temperature, like for humans it's 98.6 Fahrenheit. For goats it would be 102.5 Fahrenheit. But anything between 101.5 and 103.5 is in the normal range. And so when I bathed them, I made sure to use nice warm water to really help warm their temperatures up. And then after I would bathe them and dry them each one off, I had a heat lamp on, and I had a heating pad to put over them. And I have a warped ice chest in my kitchen that's there all the time, that I can just immediately put anybody who's sick, injured, whatever in. That's small enough for, it's a pretty big ice chest, but still. Sometimes the animal's just too big, but anything that's baby or small chickens, baby goat, whatever, will fit in there. So once I got both of them bathed, both of them dried off as much as I could, both of them under the heating lamp, then I put my attention into taking their temperatures. Well, I don't know who at the point I had taken, but I'm pretty sure it was the boy. I'm guessing it was a boy. I only took one's temperature, and the thermometer said low. It wouldn't read a temperature. So I started immediately trying to heat him up even more, and got a different thermometer. Still said low. Used both thermometers, and both were saying low. I have never had a goat survive whose temperature was that low, that it couldn't even be read. But just kept working, kept trying to heat them up, changed out the towels because the towels started getting damp, worked to dry them off more, get the heat up. Eventually, the girl, I eventually got to the point where I was like, what do I even have? Even if they die, I want to know what I have. Well, I had a boy and a girl. And at some point, then I took each of their temperatures, and at one point I got a temperature for the girls, still had a still was, well, once I sexed them, the boy was still like, I think it was 92.6 or something like that. It was really, really low. The girl was much closer to 100, and she has continued to do much better than the boy. But got them eventually, with a lot of work. Their temperatures both were above 100. As soon as the girls reached 100, shoved a bottle in. Well, I had thought out, while they were trying to heat up, I ran out and tried to milk Lovey, and really didn't get nothing from her. She was fighting me. She's not used to being milked. It was not on a milking stand. But I got her separated from everybody, got her some molasses water, tried to milk her. It really hadn't, there was a little bit of milk in there coming out, or colostrum, but not enough to give the babies. So after I gave up trying to get anything from her, I ran back inside and got colostrum out of the freezer and thawed it. Whether you have dairy goats or some other goat, a meat goat breed, it's really good, Tiger, to milk out your goats, have colostrum on hand. I milk every goat to get the colostrum out, and I freeze it. Even if the does are taking care of all their babies, after the babies have been on them at a good 12 to 24 hours, I will milk those goats out and get as much colostrum as possible. I have people contacting me all the time asking if I have any colostrum. So I do it. This stuff is gold. And so I grabbed some colostrum out of the freezer and started thawing it. Never use a microwave. I just put it in hot, I put the whole Ziploc bag in hot water so it could start melting that way. And then that's what I fed the babies. I've been trying to milk Lovey every day since. She's fighting me, but I have gotten some colostrum from her. And since her babies don't really need it anymore, I've been freezing it all. But she's pretty much going to milk now. The transition. Because they only make colostrum for a very short amount of time. So, right now I have Lovey over in the hay shed so I can get to her every day and work with her. She is terrified of these babies. I tried putting the babies near her once they were fed, they were stabilized, and she won't have anything to do with them. She's like terrified. She's as far away as she could possibly be. So, and it's been chilly, especially at night. It has gotten really chilly. So I have them in the house full time, not even a... Lovey, those are your babies. You need to go over to your babies. You're too far from them. You need to keep them warm. I have the babies now in the house. They've been there full time. Lovey's I have had confined in the hay shed so I can work with her every day and not have to chase her, even though she's totally loves to be scratched and was on the bottle herself after her mama was killed. Still, they can tend to say, I know what you want to do, I'm getting out of here. And it's hard chasing goats by yourself. The boy, he's slowly improving, but his appetite isn't that good. He was congested. He's starting today, sound better. Starting to perk up. He's done a ton of sleeping. You can just tell he has had a really rough start. The girl's doing great. Little Miss Piggy. So that was the beginning of my week. That was Saturday. I had planned to do all these things. After I gave all the goats hay, I was going to go out. I mean, I had a whole long list of things I needed to get done. Didn't get nothing done. Absolutely didn't accomplish anything. And then I decided to take the goats, or the kids. I put them in a box, took them to church, and between services and everything on Sunday, went out and, brought milk with me, and took care of them. Left them in the truck because they were barely standing at the time. Came home from church late. It was like 2 or 3 by the time I got home from church, because we have a potluck out on the first Sunday of every month. And started getting some things accomplished in the afternoon, and then I suddenly started feeling bad. So I didn't get anything, barely got anything accomplished. And so I still have all those things I need to do. Not getting them done. I'm feeling better today. It's Tuesday. And I'm starting to feel like my old self again. I started out being really dizzy, lightheaded. And yesterday I was so exhausted. I barely could get out of bed. But I had no choice. I had to go to town and get more feed. Had to do I did what I absolutely 100% had to accomplish. And that's it. If it did not have to be done yesterday, it didn't get done because I was just like, I hadn't slept in a month kind of feeling. And kind of lightheaded still, was improving. Today I'm honestly feeling better. So that's been this week. It's just, sometimes it doesn't care what you need to do. It doesn't care what your plans are. Life interrupts. The kids are still in the house. They're sleeping right now. Their tummies are full. And so I need to go out and try to milk Lovey, get what I can out of her to keep her in milk. I've already decided I'm probably going to sell her because she has teeny teats. And honestly, so did her mom. And it took 3 kittings before her mom had decent sized teats. And my hands cramp up on this small teat. So I've already started putting the word out that she's available. And if somebody wants to buy the kids off of me, they're available because I'm tired of having to deal with bottle babies. But life sometimes just interrupts you and you just don't get to your list. So that's going to be it for now. I got to get something done. While it's still warm enough outside to do something. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you like my videos, like what I'm sharing, please subscribe. It really does help. It really does help if you like the videos. It makes a world of difference. And watching to the very end really helps. YouTube, if you don't watch all the way to the end, if you don't like the videos, YouTube doesn't share them. So that's just the way it is. You guys really play a role to the success of whatever channel is out there. You guys are very, very important. And I'm very thankful for all you guys who faithfully watch my videos. So you have a nice day and you take care and God bless you.